Hi, I'm Angel Davis, and you're listening to Verbally Naked, a podcast devoted to the enhancement of relationships. This is, we're in season 3, and we're calling this She's Having a Baby because I am. I'm here with Mr. Peter Hermes.
Hi, baby.
Hi. Today we're talking about relationships, intimacy, rather.
Oh, we always talk about relationships.
We always talk about relationships, but intimacy during pregnancy, and what that looks like. So, take it away.
Is this my podcast?
I feel like we need a jingle. We don't have any we don't have a jingle.
That'll be next season.
Is that next season?
Yeah, we'll hire an orchestra.
So
that's a tough one. Intimacy during pregnancy. It's not a tough one, actually.
It's not tough. It's just,
when there's true, real love between two people, nothing gets in the way of that.
Is that what we have?
That's some semblance of that. So you being pregnant,
yes,
is just sort of, no pun intended, just a little speed bump.
A big speed bump.
It's just making sure that we
that we
communicate, that we
exactly.
That we let each other know what our needs still are, and yours have changed, mine have changed a little bit.
Yeah,
some will go back to normal after the baby comes, and some
will change
all
again.
All relationships evolve, and
right.
when they stop evolving, that's a good sign that that's a done deal.
It's just like all the stages of relationships that you go through, with just as how we talk about the honeymoon phase of relationships, and then you move into a more mature part of your relationship, and then if your relationship progresses to, say, marriage and all all of these different stages. And it's sort of like that with pregnancy. You kind of change or shift what intimacy may look like as the pregnancy develops. So, like, for instance, in the beginning of the pregnancy, I was a mess. Just so sick.
Sure.
And so I had really bad morning sickness, and Peter really became maybe not a single dad, but he certainly had to take on more responsibilities as a parent, as a husband, because he had to do most of the cooking and all of those things. And it was so I don't even know if intimacy existed during that period.
No,
but,
certainly no physical intimacy.
No,
but there are different
not that.
Types
but
of intimacy.
Even there wasn't even a really good time just to be close, because I was just literally like on death's door all the time. I guess maybe intimacy looked like you waiting on me hand and foot.
Which I was happy to do.
Yes, he was. You were great during that time, and maybe that was kind of how we shared closeness. But also, sleep has become a thing of the past for me.
Yeah, that's been a trick.
Tough.
Yeah. Because I am not having any problem sleeping. This pregnancy has helped my sleeping.
A lot of people express, or a lot of women express, how exhausted they are, and just it's like they can sleep all the time. They just want to sleep all the time. I would love to sleep all the time. What is happening?
Sorry. Go ahead.
I cannot sleep most of the time, so therefore I am by proxy exhausted. And that kind of leads to, it's like every 3 or 4 days, I actually, like today, I was able to take a decent nap. I can't even nap during the day, because my sleep pattern is just really, really bad. So like every so many days, I actually get a decent night's sleep, and then I feel like, oh, I'm alive.
Right.
But then, you know,
You recharge your battery, and then a few days, and it just
and it depletes.
bottoms out.
Yeah, it
and-
just depletes again. So Peter kind of has to deal with mood swings, I would say, and they're not severe,
No.
but certainly I have less patience on certain days, and I know
True.
that you definitely get the brunt of that.
It's okay.
And then, you know, I'm big.
What?
Well, I definitely feel larger at this stage of my pregnancy than I did with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm uncomfortable a lot, and I don't feel attractive a lot,
Mm.
you know, and that plays a part in even aside from the physical, just even wanting to just snuggle or,
Sure.
you know, I'm just like, oh, how different is it being with me like this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And how is that for you?
It's interesting. You're such a small person. Normally. And now you are the same size everywhere except for one area. So I like to come behind you and just reach around and just grab the belly and feel for, you know, what's inside there.
Mm-hmm.
You're at the stage now in the pregnancy where it has progressed from just a bump to a hanging bump, which tells me you're about ready to pop. You're about ready to deliver. We're 7 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
if it's not a day. I think yesterday was our 7-week mark, or today, I'm sorry.
Today, yeah.
We went into the doctor today, and we hadn't gone in for a sonogram in 12 or so weeks, so
Mhm.
we got a chance to take a look at him today, and doctors are all happy, and so those are, for me, that's we're talking about intimacy,
Yeah.
but like those are the moments when we go in and we get that confirmation from the professionals that things are where they need to be,
Mm-hmm.
that this is all not necessarily worth it, because it's always worth it, but like, we're going through a pregnancy. I mean, there are going to be, sleepless mood swings and cravings, and there's certain foods you don't even want to eat, and
And I'm going back and forth between those things. I started off
right.
having severe aversions and weird cravings, or they're not weird by way of what I wanted, but just they were very specific. And then it got better, and then now I'm kind of going back and forth between. That sounds like tonight. I did not eat what we made for dinner.
Yeah, most of the times when we cook dinner, we cook 2 dinners. me and Brian, we eat one thing, and then you have
we did that
quite another.
more in the beginning, and then
Mhm.
there was a time where we were all on the same page, and
Yeah.
now some days I'm on the same page, and other days I'm like, I can't do it.
Right.
So, but excuse me, through this whole process though, we've never, I don't know that I guess we've talked about it, but how does seeing me, like the physical changes in me, like you said, I've always been kind of a small person, and I assume what you mean by that is I'm not tall. I am an actual short person, but also B, I've never been very huge. I'm what's considered a petite person.
Mhm.
And you've known me that way, actually our whole friendship / now relationship.
Mhm.
So, I mean, is it weird for you watching?
No, because I know you're pregnant.
Oh, okay. Because some guys, it's a turn off at some point.
Oh no. I mean, are you talking like physically speaking?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no, because the intimacy, for me is it's always there. It isn't. I don't know how to explain it. It's in my head. You know what I mean? Um, the attraction is strong no matter what. You could gain, outside of the pregnancy, you could gain a ton of weight, or you could, and it wouldn't matter. So
You say that, but but for you, I mean, I guess what I think you're saying is that
at first, I think I was concerned during physical intimacy of, I think it's everybody's concern is
hurting
the baby. And when we had our miscarriage, which we talked about a few episodes ago, that was certainly potentially something that happened early on. But you get past that. That's, you're the best barometer on how that kid's doing. So if you feel like there's an issue, and you just kind of let, now how we are able to be physically intimate has changed.
Yeah, we'll talk about that
to a certain degree. But as far as my attraction, am I grossed out because you're pregnant, or no, there's nothing. You're my beautiful wife. You're my baby.
Thank you. So getting into the physical part, I think because of with pregnancy, you just never know how it's going to go. I'm also older, and I mean, there's just a lot of factors here, but some of the ways that we go beyond the physical, because there's just times where it's just not possible. We constantly are reading. This is Peter's first biological child. So he's, completely unaware and new. This is all new for him in terms of just each stage. So every week, I check into the What to Expect app, and we kind of just look at week to week what's happening with my body, what's happening with the baby.
Which is interesting because every week we learn what new food item our baby is most comparable to.
Right.
So it started off, as a pea, and
Yeah.
But it's always food. It's always food. I think last week he was a coconut.
Yeah.
What is he this week?
I don't know. I didn't look today.
Oh, okay. We need
Today
to
is
look.
the
He was
day.
a coconut this week. He was a butternut squash one week.
Yeah.
He's been. Was he an apple at some point?
Well,
or
yeah,
grapefruit?
and it mostly refers to weight.
Size and weight. Generally speaking.
Yeah.
So, like, if you were to use your hands, like, oh, he's about yay big.
Right,
well,
right.
That would equal a coconut, which is weird because I
Well-
feel like 3 weeks ago the food item was way bigger than a coconut, and I was like, he's getting smaller.
Well,
he's a coconut now.
depending on the butternut squash you get, or yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, that could be.
It's not a great barometer.
No, but
a
again,
great
it's more about
measuring
weight
stick.
than it is about like length. But we do that together. We're reading a book about in how we're kind of going to approach some things with our son.
Baby wise.
Baby wise, yes.
It's the new. I don't know if Dr. Spock is still a thing.
Yeah, I think
He
so
was
for
how
some people.
most kids in the 80s were raised.
I don't know how new this is, but it doesn't work for everybody, but it worked for.
I like the philosophy.
Yeah, I do too, and it worked for Brian. And babies are different. There's different stages that they go through, and not all the time, was she completely on track to the suggestions of Baby Wise, but most of what we did, we were able to do. Most of what they suggested, we were able to do with her. And I do think she's a very well-adjusted person. She definitely has no trouble sleeping. And
Sure.
there's some benefits. So I have no idea how he's going to respond to it, but that's certainly
Right.
what we're approaching. And so we're reading that together.
Mm-hmm.
We cook together when we can.
Sure.
But we're hanging with our friends. We still go to the gym together.
Yeah, you still, we are 7 weeks away, and you're still dancing it up, and you're in your classes.
I just in the last week had to go ahead and pause on karate. which made me sad. But
tell us the reaction of all the old ladies in your classes. She's quite popular, and everybody wants to touch her belly.
Yes, and I have to do the belly guard, and it doesn't matter. They're totally oblivious.
These are like the old grandmas.
They're totally oblivious to me, like trying to cover my belly, like don't touch me. But yeah, but anyway, so yeah, but I like, this is silly, but you know, Peter usually plays basketball in the room that's right next to mine, and there is like a window so we can actually see. I can see him playing, and he can see me in my dance room. And you know, there's just moments where we wave at each other, or you'll go get water and you come in and you know, watch for a little while. And when I go get water, I'll go to the window and watch you play. And you know, I don't know. There's just something about that I just love.
It is. It's you catch, you know, I'll look in, not wanting you to necessarily see me in the mirror, and then you'll catch a glimpse, and you know, it's sort of kind of like that early the gaze from afar kind of thing. It's nice.
Yeah, it's just this cute little thing that we do, and every once in a while he may pop in and we may kiss or something. But, and then, you know, like the other day we went to a botanical gardens, because walking obviously is really good. And that was really nice.
Yeah,
it was just nice to be out. Yeah, it was nice to be out in the morning, and it was a beautiful day. And of course, you're surrounded by all these gorgeous plants and flowers, and then, you know, it just gives us time to talk. And
it's out in nature. And
yeah,
there wasn't, you know, the place was a large acreage, and so you could go off the beaten path where there are, you know, no other people, and it's kind of a hike, and so you could be by yourselves, you know, out with the birds, and we heard a coyote.
We did.
There was in the distance we heard a fire engine go by with the siren, and the coyote was
howling at it.
Howling and he was close. He was right on the other side of a bush that we were next to.
Yeah.
And
or a fence, yeah.
And we were like, oh, that was neat, but also like maybe a little too close.
Well, for you, I mean, it's not like we saw him. We couldn't see him, but
it was nice. It was nice to get out and hold hands and walk around.
Yeah.
We smelled some neat plants, some flowers, and we went through a lilac maze kind of thing, which was quite nice.
Yeah.
That was nice. And taking the time to do those things.
Right.
Between the, you know, just life stuff, like taking the kid to work, going to the gym, not to work, but taking the kid to school, and after school programs and all that stuff. It's just carving out a little bit of time to just be with your partner. Which,
I mean, you should be doing anyway, but,
sure,
you know, the point of this podcast is just that it does get more challenging when you're pregnant. If for some women, I mean, some women, like, being pregnant is the equivalent to like a spa day for them. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I will never understand it because this is my second and last pregnancy, and you know, I can officially say my body just does not enjoy this transition.
No.
And
it's hard on the body.
It's particularly hard for me because I just, like, you know, here we are 7 weeks out. I still get nauseous every day.
Oh, yeah.
I was nauseous at dinner, and it's just like every day.
You can't have big meals. I mean, there's no room in there anymore.
But feeling that way every day, I mean, you just, no matter how you mentally come at it, of course I'm excited. Of course I, you know, spend time, you know, just rubbing my belly and feeling him and all those things. But in the end, I'm like, you know, I'm sorry. I'm not one of those people who enjoys being pregnant. And so it is a challenge creating intimacy in that way. But those are some of the things that we've been able to do. So that brings us to the actual physical. And don't worry, we're not going to go rated X here. We're not going to bring you into our bedroom, but
it's important to chat about.
Yeah, I mean, because the physical part of relationships in general, but particularly when there's a pregnancy, runs the gamut of things. Some women are like raring to go all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Some men have trouble being attracted to their wives during this time.
Mm-hmm.
Some men are attracted to their wives, but their wives are just not into it.
Right.
I mean, it just runs the gamut, and we're kind of, what I love is that there's never been any pressure.
Right.
We've never stressed out about it. And it happens when it happens, basically.
Mm-hmm.
There's just, there's a time where we're like, hey, this seems right. This seems like a good time.
And we're really good at communicating, so neither of
Yes.
us would let something boil under the surface so long that, there's always going to be communication.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, but
but there's never pressure.
No, I mean, there's never been, because I mean, during the times where I'm tired or I don't feel well, whatever, I do feel bad. I'm like, it's not that I don't, I mean, I desire to be closer. I desire to want it. And I just don't, I mean, it's just the reality of it. There are days where it's just like, oh my gosh, it's the last thing that is on my mind. But I do love that there's never been any pressure, and it's nice. I mean, it's nice when it happens. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's that been like for you? That change?
Well, it has been. It's been fine. It's there's. We certainly can't during our what we call cuddle time, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
That's our little code word. We certainly have to be very conservative. Is that the word I'm looking for? We have to. There are certain things we can't do.
Oh yeah, I mean,
there's certain things.
I don't know if conservative is the right way, but physically, there's just certain things we can't do anymore.
We have obstacles.
Yeah.
And so there's really only one or two ways of going about
cuddling.
Cuddling. And so, which is totally fine. Eventually once we deliver and, all the healing and all of that, we can get back to what we have used to know, but.
Oh, you think that's going to happen?
Oh, is this child the end of our intimacy? Well, that's sad. That happens.
No.
But we have certainly
yes, so
we have certainly not stopped.
No.
The closer I think that you get to time, I think we need to, be, I don't know if more careful is the right word, but we always have to be somewhat careful.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, yes, in terms of like we said, there are certain things you can't. There are literally certain positions it's recommended medically that you do not get into, and it has everything to do with blood flow to the baby and all those things.
Right.
So we never go there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really, there's nothing really, as long as I'm doing well, which all my checkups have indicated, there's really nothing to be worried about as it gets closer to time. It's just a matter of, again, desire and wants, and which kind of gets me into how you have to kind of get creative with intimacy.
Okay.
Which is kind of like, what you said, we have to figure out different ways of cuddling, in terms of positioning and all those things. And it's really no different than you having to kind of not recreate, but create your intimacy anew with different stages of any relationship, because your relationship does go through different stages. I've created a bucket list that I sent you of things that I want to do with you before the baby's born, because I know that once the baby's born, it's not that we're not going to have intimacy and all those things. But, there's some adjustment that has to happen once again, because we'll be a family of 4. Like you said in the beginning, I'm going to be healing. We don't know how nursing is going to go, how,
Right.
There's just a variety of things that could come up in the beginning that may deter things. But ultimately, we have another being in our home that's going to cause us to shift.
That baby's going to dictate our lives for at least, a few months, if not the rest of our lives.
It's not going to, we dictate, but the priority of it certainly will become more on the forefront than not. Plus, keeping up with our daughter. So I created this bucket list of things, which involves a lot of food.
We ticked one off today. We went to lunch.
We did. And I'm telling you, I still got to get those pancakes from DePars.
That's right. We can do that next. But we went and had the Papa Cristo's if you're in LA.
It was good, guys. It was good.
It's the place to go to get the gyros and the falafels and all of that.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
But we want to have a date night and just those things that I want to do. But I also want to have a date night with my daughter because, she's up to this point been a single child for 8 years.
Right. And you're going to get a chance to do that this weekend. I have to go out of town for work. So
yeah, so we're going to have a date day / night. And, but that's like something that I was, the whole point of that, talking about the bucket list is just making sure that my relationships with you, with Brian, with, that they're still a priority and how to, how I get to still dictate what I want it to look like, or we want it to look like, not just me, but, and I think that's important, particularly when you're going through a change like this. And you nailed it earlier when it's just, it's always about communication, talking about your wants and your needs.
Oh yeah.
Which is something that we have done throughout.
Lack of communication is one of the biggest reasons people, don't make it.
Yeah.
And, that's a conversation that we always have with each other, before we even moved into this, was that we will always be verbally naked with each other.
That's right.
And we have stayed true to that. Now, sometimes during, an argument or if there's something bothering us, it might take a minute.
Yes.
It might take a little bit of time for us to gather our thoughts to communicate.
To come together and sit down and go, okay.
I'm not always that patient with you when it comes to that because I'm the kind of person that let's handle this now. Mm-hmm. And so I have to learn how to be patient. Like, you're not ready right now. You will. I know you will communicate with me eventually. Mm-hmm. But it always happens.
Yes, it always happens. And, and I'm getting better at timing. There's, some factors as to why, it takes me longer to process what happened, how we miscommunicated, and what's my responsibility in it, so that when we do come together, it's not the blame game for me. It's like, okay, I didn't approach this in this way. So yeah, but it's all about communicating. I think it's so important during these kinds of, this kind of time where a lot of what's happening is out of our control.
Right.
So, what you do have control over is how you communicate.
That's true.
So, next week, or next podcast, not next week, but next.
You will have to look at the list. We're getting
next closer.
Next time we will be 5 weeks out. We
will be.
Because we record the podcasts on our weekly pregnancy anniversary, I guess. We chart our weeks every Thursday. Mm-hmm. We release the podcast on Fridays. Mm-hmm. So in 2 weeks Thursday, we will be 2 weeks closer. So we'll be 5 weeks away.
Yeah.
Which is a month. mean, just a little bit over. We're almost there.
Yeah, we are.
And I know that, I don't know if it's our next one, but we do have an episode coming up where we're going to talk about our hopes and dreams and concerns about
Yes,
all of this.
exactly.
Which I'm looking forward to, because I certainly have a ton of
Great.
both hopes and a ton of concerns. This is the great unknown, and
Yes,
it will
it
be an
is.
unknown,
The rest of your life, honey.
Well, until the birth, but then the rest of your,
Yeah.
we're just we're gearing up for the start of,
Mm-hmm.
this is actually the end of the good free times, so we're about to get into it.
Yes, we are.
And I'm looking forward to it, and I'm also, a little bit scared.
You've been listening to Verbally Naked.
I'm Peter Hermes.
I'm Angel Davis. And as always, live big.